on the Bert Show. So, yeah, I'm concerned, man. I said this yesterday also. I'm super concerned. Donald Trump said yesterday that he's hoping to reopen the country by Easter.
I said earlier today that I hope we can do this by Easter. I think that would be a great thing for our country, and Easter is a very special day for many reasons. Me, for a lot of our friends, that's a very special day. And what a great timeline this would be as we look ahead to the time when we can carefully and responsibly reopen our country for business, and we hope that's going to be very soon.
He continued actually earlier in the day. He said that he believes shutting down the economy might kill more people than the coronavirus would.
Look, you're going to lose a number of people to the flu, but you're going to lose more people by putting a country into a massive recession or depression. You're going to lose people. You're going to have suicides by the thousands. You're going to have all sorts of things happen. You can't just come in and say, let's close up the United States of America, the most successful country in the world by far.
Not too different than what Vanessa Hudgens said about a week ago, right? It's inevitable. Some people are going to die. It's inevitable, you know? Look, we don't have a phone screener right now, so you guys can't get through on the phones. But if you want to hang out with us online, facebook.com/The Bert Show. Cassie will read your comments to us in real time. So let's just go over this. And again, we're not a political morning show. What you have here is a staff of people that are getting info the same way you guys are. I don't have any inside information, but we're as concerned as you guys are. I think the only people that aren't represented on the Bert Show are those that think that it's a good idea to open the country. I think when we designed the show, what I tried to do is get people in here that were diverse enough that we'd have different opinions on it, but in this case, we just don't have that. State governors and medical experts are not seeing this as optimistically as the president. Larry Hogan, who is the governor of Maryland, he's also a Republican. He's the head of the National Governors Association. He pushed back yesterday and said the timeline comes from, and what he called, an imaginary clock. Dr. Tina Tan, she's with the Infectious Diseases Society of America, and she said, this has the makings of a major public health disaster. Then you have the WHO, and you have warning that the U.S. could be potentially the new epicenter of the pandemic. You're talking about a very large acceleration is what they are saying. A bunch of smart economists at Northwestern University found that social distancing measures can prevent up to 600,000 American deaths. These all came out yesterday after the president said that. And Bill Gates said yesterday, it's very tough to say to people, hey, keep going to restaurants, go buy new houses, ignore that pile of bodies over there in the corner. So that's pretty harsh, but it rings true. And I just know from my personal standpoint, I just feel like it's a really bad idea. There's a lot of smart people that are around the president, a lot of scientific people giving him advice, and I feel like he's taking a look at this as a CEO, and I just don't feel comfortable with it. Kristen?
The way I'm getting through this pandemic is looking at the now, not looking at the 2 weeks from now, and I leave that up to the medical professionals and the researchers, and in 2 weeks, let's see if that's a possibility. I try to appreciate the president trying to keep up the morale of the American people by giving them some hope that things will get back to normal. But I hope he is surrounded by people who are giving him the right information, the correct information, the right statistics when it comes to how the virus is spreading and what could potentially happen with the virus, that the right call will be made to not only save the economy, but to save American lives. I think it was the governor of New York, Cuomo, who had a really good speech yesterday about how American lives are not disposable. And there is no dollar amount you can put on a life. And there is a way to find a balance of trying to protect and save our economy while at the same time protecting all lives of Americans. That is possible.
my knock on President Trump has always been sort of his ego. I think you got to have an ego to be president anyway, and it's a healthy ego. I mean, you have to have a healthy ego in order to be president, and I appreciate that. However, my knock on the president is I always have felt like he always feels like he's the smartest person in the room. Even if you have a whole bunch of experts, doesn't matter if it's militarily, it doesn't matter if it's science. And I'm of the belief when you look around a room, if you think you're the smartest person in that room, chances are really good you're not. So I think he's getting really good information. But again, I think that he feels like he knows better than anybody else. And he feels like he knows that if the economy tanks, it's going to be more hurtful than the scientific facts he's getting. Mo.
I 1000% agree with when you think you're the smartest person in the room, you're usually not. And I think that's what's going on with a whole bunch of people who are dispersing of information in this situation. When you get to the core of it all, we just simply don't know. Like, this has never happened before. We've never been in this situation before. So I think the wise thing to do is to take it one day at a time and really just figure out what's going to actually happen. But you definitely can't just think that, well, humans are going to suffer anyway, and they're going to commit suicide. Like, you don't know these things, but what we do know are the numbers that what the virus is actually doing, and you have to stay on top of that, period.
Here's what I will argue on Donald Trump's side is that, look, the dude knows economics and he knows numbers way better than I do. So he understands the ramifications of the world closing down, of the United States closing down, way better than I do. However, I also am taking a look at all these scientists that are really smart people, and experts in their field that are saying you really got to weigh the economics of this compared to the loss of life, and it is going to be tremendous. Cassie, our social media director, is online taking a look at your comments.
Linda DeMark says, let's get the U.S. started. People need jobs and not all people can work from home. Life as you know it right now is a gamble. You're darned if you do and darned if you don't. America is strong. We can do this. Ricky Wentz says they should have shut down the country down once we heard about it in January. We need to lock down, and people need to take this more seriously. Waylon Conover says, I say keep it open. The coronavirus will burn out. If we lose the economy, we won't get it back. And then Ciara Wynn says, history has shown we can always bounce back an economy, but we can't bounce back lives. But these two next comments really sum everything up. I think if on either side of the debate, Ariel Price says, always money before humanity. And then Tanya Kurt says, an economy can recover, dead people cannot.
Yep.
The way I've learned it is that, when I talk to, I've got some friends that are very successful CEOs, and I've been around really, really good managers. And I've always felt like the best managers take information, they hire people around them that are really good people that they respect and that perhaps know more than they do. And they take all the information in from all of those experts, and then they make a decision based on everything that they're taking in. And I just don't feel like that's happening here. I feel like all the good information, all the scientific information is coming in. I wish there was a way that one of you really smart engineers could design one of those pop-up video type deals during news conferences. Because I'd like to see Donald Trump there on stage and then have all those scientists around him, and I'd love to know what they really, really think. Kristen.
Yeah, no, we've seen, if you watch some of the press conferences, there's some faces being made behind the scenes that makes you want to know what's really going on.
It just makes me really, really nervous, man. Really nervous. And again, we're not a political show. We are just as concerned as you guys are. I don't have any inside information. I might be online a lot more than some of you guys during the day because it's part of my job, but I just am super concerned that if the country lets our guard down now, that this isn't going anywhere anytime soon, and the amount of loss of life is going to be astronomical. Cass.
Caitlin Downs on Twitter says it truly alarms her that the people in power aren't taking this seriously. She will never value money over human life. But then Jason Griffin responded to her with a good point, and I'm not sure how this pans out, but he said it's not valuing money over human life. If the economy goes into recession, even more people will die. So I guess if people lose jobs and they're put out on the streets and they go hungry, so I guess it's choosing the lesser evil at this point.
All right, we'll break away from all this entertainment buzz in just a couple of minutes.
John Mayer nearly joined Gal Gadot's Imagine video, but he misunderstood the assignment, much to our enjoyment.